This chapter was a doozy. Shifting focus from the rooftop to the officer battles, we get a good look as the tide shifts wildly for each scenario. And speaking of my favorite scenario of the week, that would be you clicking the subscribe button and bell notification to get consistent One Piece content straight to your YouTube feed. Now, this is my thoughts on and review for One Piece Manga Chapter 1004, titled Millet Dumplings. Now Oda reveals that Speed, Gazelleman, and Daifugo are responsible for getting Tama to Onigashima via Speed's personal ship, on which Tama really pushed herself to create a stockpile of the dumplings to tame the majority of the gifters. And you can actually even see that Speed has a bunch of pouches on her horse parts that most certainly contain those dumplings. And as Tama, Nami, and Usopp continue to be chased by LT in page 1, they have already assembled an army of gifters and led them to interfere with Frankie versus Sasaki. And surprisingly, that fight seems mostly even outside of the gifter interference. But with Tama taming the armored division, Frankie actually managed to get a damn clean hit on Sasaki. Not just a clean hit, like a named sword slash, which was pretty cool, and it shows that Frankie's taking combat in the Frankie Shogun a little bit more seriously than the first 2 or 3 times we've seen it, which is good, because we kind of want the Frankie Shogun to not be completely destroyed. We honestly haven't really seen him go all out in it. The best use of it so far was actually versus Baby 5 and Buffalo, which was still pretty damn good and a step up from when he used it in Fishman Island. So having a more focused one-on-one v Sasaki is actually pretty damn good. And if it does end up getting destroyed by the end of it, I wouldn't mind. But he's definitely at least shown improvement enough as is. And he even managed to get that nice clean blow on Sasaki, which is fucking amazing. And Nami also managed to do the same with Ulti in the Chaos. But she stated she'd need more lightning to put her down. Still, that was a decent clean blow of just full-on lightning strike, and that's what I love about Nami's fighting style, and also why I can see why they definitely had to take Zeus away from her, even if it's just temporary, or if he never comes back. Nami holding Zeus might have broken the fight a little bit, just a little bit, because in the end, Zeus is still a weapon made for a Yonko. Give that level of power to Nami, and yeah, 1v1 or a 2v2 might not be too exciting, and it wouldn't hold as much stakes as this current setup actually does. So I actually do now retroactively agree with Zeus being part of, Big Mom's arsenal during this final fight on the rooftop. Well, not just from this, kind of from what Big Mom's been doing with Zeus recently, but this is more focused on Nami right now. And personally, I actually think that Tama's plan going so well hinders last week's initial assessment by CP0, as the Tame Gifters can now run interference like they did for Sasaki, but for the Alliance instead. And as long as the battles are more even, like Frankie versus Sasaki, the flow of the overall, conflict would seem to go in the Alliance's favor. However, Oda shows that there are occurrences in these next 2 scenarios that could make it still go either way. Now, before I deep dive into the second half of the chapter, I have to give props to Oda for technically covering 4 scenes, but tying the first 2 together and the last 2 together to make a more cohesive through line that actually allows us to go through a journey of hope, some despair, and intrigue, which allows the chapter to feel like it's pushing the story farther ahead in a very short period of time, makes those couple pages feel meaty. Now, we go back to Sanji, who has been captured, near fully. He could probably still escape, but he'd probably end up hurting Black Maria, and you know how he is. But she finally lays out her full intentions, and it's kind of funny, as the fan base was hoping this entire time that Robin come in assist. Robin will come in versus Black Maria, only for it to be revealed that that's exactly what Oda has planned through Kaido's plans to lay out the trap, more or less specifically for Robin, or at least after Sanji was lured in. well, doesn't make as much sense when you say it out loud, but at the very least, once Sanji was in the trap, boom, it's like, we can get Robin, we need Robin, which also goes against the idea that Kaido has other stuff that would supplement Robin, because we had the whole theory that he has someone available to translate the poneglyphs, unlike Big Mom, who's just waiting on the one specific person to awaken her third eye, aka Pudding. But no, he is actually laying out plans to capture Robin, so that is pretty interesting. But we do get to see a more sadistic side to Black Maria, because let's be honest, aside from when she finally revealed her devil fruit to make her look more menacing, she still didn't feel all too menacing, aside from the fact that Sanji was not going to fight her at all. And the most we had seen of her was her being kind to Momo, and just not being that devious or forthgoing, and she was really more sedentary than an active member of the enemies. But she actually overall in this chapter really shows that she is still a key player, not just in terms of what she's doing with Sanji, but what she volunteers to do at the end of the chapter. But she does really show exactly how far she is willing to go and what her true nature really is. And she really taunts Sanji with that impending torture, abuse, and ultimate disposal plan for Robin. Sanji is not shaken in the slightest, though, and his ass states, "Underestimate Robin at your own peril." That's verbatim the official translation, by the way. Now, as for how this scene ties into the next part, we actually get verbal confirmation from Black Maria that the masks we see on multiple beast pirates and animals throughout Onigashima are responsible for the communication amongst the crew. And Black Maria requests that Sanji call Robin by speaking to one of the masks, and we even see the wearer of the mask touching her ear as to maybe say start the communication. So that's a huge, leap into kind of how these masks work, or that the masks are what do the work as opposed to a third power. Because remember, the initial time we get to see this is through Bao Wang, who clearly was not using it as a devil fruit power because she was a smile gifter. And speaking of Bao Wang, she uses a mouse with a mask to locate the scabbards, ousting their location to the enemy, which is actually on the same floor as Sanji, prompting Black Maria to volunteer to kill the scabbards. But we get a confirmation of a tense silhouetted individual healing them, and the silhouette is hinting that it would be Hiyori. Of course, I won't dismiss all the hype regarding a Togi reveal. Like, why did we see that scar on Toki's leg? I personally would be fine if it wasn't, but at the same time, that is true. Oda is very detailed. He showed us that scar for a reason, so we can't dismiss it. But whoever it is, they're in danger. Black Maria's coming. But that also leaves an opening for someone, say Robin, to free Sanji while Black Maria's not there, and then regroup with either the samurai or head to the roof. Now, unfortunately, we have a break next week, but I feel we got enough content this Valentine's Day to hold us over until the 28th. And the deep dive on Kaido's devil fruit I had planned for last week will simply come out next Sunday to fill the gap in our otaku hearts during the break. And if that interests you, definitely click that subscribe button to stay up to date on its release. And in the meantime, tell me your thoughts in the comments below on this chapter. Now, I've been Smalls of Black Knight Anime and Manga. Till next time, stay safe.